Hello everybody and welcome back to another Ayoto Corporation video. Today, we're taking a look at Disc Room from Devolver Digital. Normally I would say the studio's name as opposed to the publisher's name, but it's four separate people. They don't have a joint studio kind of thing, so it's kind of a pain to say all of their names one after another. So it's a Devolver game. Anyway, Disc Room is a sort of puzzle, bullet hell, action, top-down game, which I've been really into. It's a lot of fun, despite how simple it looks and how frustrating it, by all rights, should be. But first, let me get into a couple things in the settings. So, one of the nice things about the settings is that they actually have quite a bit of options for different playstyles. You have the ability to turn on or off a speedrun timer. You can check your dev team times. You can actually adjust the amount of fast-forward speed you get. You have different color options, blood on or none. Control options, you actually have the ability to adjust your dead zones for sticks. You have the music adjustments and so on and so forth. And there's actually more options in the game, which I will show once I get into that point. One thing I am going to bring up though, which is kind of an issue, is the full screen. The full screen is not great in this game. Well, I should be more clear. The full screen is fine, but the windowed version does not work for whatever reason. On my particular setup, I have two monitors. If I set windowed on and then try to use a program like borderless gaming, which normally full screens the window as a windowed, it instead causes the window to expand to fit both of my monitors, and then the game is stuck in between them, and I don't understand why. It's just a very, very odd setting, and it should probably be fixed. Anyway, let's get into the game. I have a file here, which I've completed the game almost 200%, as you can see, but for sake of demonstration, I will be starting a new file here. In 2089, a giant disk is discovered in orbit of Jupiter. A crew of international scientists is sent to investigate. So this is one of the cool things. All the story bits are told by these little comic panels that sort of pop up at various points in time in the game. So use the lift stick to move. I'm using a D-pad here, but this game works perfectly fine. Or I'm using a controller. The game works perfectly fine with a keyboard and mouse, though. I say keyboard and mouse, but mostly just keyboard. You only ever use 4 buttons for direction and then 2 buttons. One to activate an ability that you pick up and another to speed up time. And that's exactly as it does. Everything just moves faster. It's useful if you're doing a room which is, simple, but you want to just get it done fast. So this is the first of the rooms. This is appropriately called Disc Room. And you have to survive as discs spawn around and sort of bounce randomly. Now, you may notice that on occasion, it sort of looks like the discs are moving to cut me off or gang up on me. That is correct. That is in fact what they seem to be doing. I can tell you pretty much the code that would do this if I was programming it. I don't know it offhand for realsies, but I can tell you that if I was programming the game, which I wasn't, but if I was programming the game, I would know exactly what to do. Just have a little bit of gravity, just pulling it slightly towards you. So anyway, you can see on the side I've survived for 34 seconds, almost 35, and the dev team time is 1 minute. But on the left side is where a lot of the more interesting information is. So I have my time. There's 2 kinds of disc in this room. There's the spinny one in the center that I died to, and then there's the ones going around the edges. And if I demonstrate right quick here, it's not letting me demonstrate. So let me demonstrate in this room. So you see that I have 1 type of disc filled in, and I have 2 other discs. That is because part of the goals of the game is to die to different kinds of disc. So you see that one got filled in, and if you go back, it's the same disc that was in this room. And if I go here as well, there's this large disc, and now I've died to every kind of disc in this room. So, one of the nice things about this game is that everything is sort of broken up by these different challenges. So in this case, I have to die from 4 disc types. I have died from 3 so far. though 3 in this room. I forgot to change the blood type to green. And there's more discs throughout. In fact, if I go here, you can see how many discs there are. There's a lot. And this itself is the majority of the level. Now, I should be clear here, this is not the entire level. There are some secret rooms, but I won't tell how to unlock those. They're off, hidden in the sides in various places. They just sort of unlock after you get various objectives completed. So, one of the things I really like about this game is that unless you're like really, really, really terrible at the game, you're never really locked out of any of these rooms. Like, surviving for 10 seconds in this room at the very start is pretty easy. Surviving for 10 seconds in these rooms at the very start is pretty easy. Like, I don't have to move a whole lot, and I've already survived for 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. If I just keep going around. Up. Okay, so like I said, it's not that hard. And doing that unlocks the next room in the path. And if I zoom back out, you can see which rooms you've been in already, which rooms you have survived more than 20 seconds in, which is when they have this golden outline to them. Which rooms are still locked, and what things you can do to unlock them. And a lot of the times, rooms will have multiple unlock options. So in this case, on the left here, you can see I have an arrow pointing to the right, so I have to die from 4 types of disc type to get into this room, from this direction and this direction. That's no matter what. This one, I have to survive for 10 seconds. If I went to this room and opened it up, I would probably get the same prompt on this side, and so on and so forth. So let's see here. There's a new disc type in here, so... Hey, there they are! I also have the ability to dash now. So, now you can see I've died from 4 disc types, which means this room is now open. I just need to survive, and that's what dashing does. It allows me to just move through things as if I'm not there. I can phase through them. Doo-doo-doo. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Don't mind me just surviving. These rooms do get very cluttered very quickly, though. Like, don't get me wrong. I might be making it look easy, but that's only because I've beaten the game already. Whoops. Okay, that's fine, too. So now that I've done that, I can get into this room. Now here's one of the first rooms that sort of tells you there's more to this game. See where it says survive 0 seconds or less? That is to get into this room here. And this is a room I wasn't able to access for a long time because I had no idea how to do that. Like, surviving for 0 seconds or less is, frankly, absurd. There we go. I got all the discs in this room, so I'm sat here now. But yeah, there's got to be some way to do that, right? And there is, but that's part of the puzzle, which is why I say this is kind of like a puzzle bullet hell. Because obviously, the bullet hell part comes from just having to dodge around all these various saw blades, the various discs that are just coming at you trying to grind you up into giblets. But then the puzzle comes into like, okay, how do I survive for 0 seconds or less? Or, okay, there's a secret disc in this room. What do I have to do to get that secret disc to show up? And so on and so forth. Just various different ways that you have to like figure out what's going on in the room to actually solve a puzzle. And it's super interesting. One of the things I also didn't quite realize when I first saw the advertising for this game is that it's not like a Binding of Isaac style room structure where you go into a room, you have a thing, you have to get into the next room. Each room you're intended to go into and die in. And the devs came up with different ways to make it new and interesting ways to die. So, for example, I'm going to go here and fight my first boss. The Armored Gatekeeper. So, you'll notice on the side, the timer is no longer moving. That is because, unlike previously, I had to figure out a new and interesting way to kill this boss or die. And that's picking up these golden orbs that are spawning around the arenas. Ooh, 1 and... Okay, come on. Party's over! So you pick up the golden orb. You can see another spaceman. And that pulls you into the next zone. Ah, yes. So this is one of the more interesting zones. So you see here, whoops. You see here that the timer isn't going up. This zone has a different set of rules. And in this case, the zone only opens up when you're standing in this central zone. Move outside of it, time no longer goes up. So you have less room to maneuver, but you can maneuver if you're willing to give up your time. And that's just sort of how the game functions. Like, let me go to this one now. Let me see, what else have I got here? I can clean up, like, this room here. So the Armored Gatekeeper, I didn't die in this room the first time, but I can die to that to get a new type of disc. I can die to the Armored Gatekeeper itself to get a new type of disc. And this wasn't available the first time I fought it, but if I go in here now... 8, 6, 5, 4, 3... 2. Oh, that's it. It's dead now. So you'll notice it's changed its shape. This counts as a new type of disc now. So if I go, whoops. Let me try that again. Whoops. Six, 7, 8. 9. Oops. Don't mind me. I'm an expert. I swear I beat the game already. Nine, 10. And if I go here now, I got the new disc. I have a new type of disc, which is the Remnant. So, a lot of the... This is kind of weird. The storytelling is kind of done in the menu. So on the left side, you can see there's this little blurb coming up that says, we still have no idea where this disc came from. That changes as you go through the game. Like, as you get more completion, that changes. And I didn't realize this until I was, sadly, almost done with the game. But in addition, the discs all have different text on them that sort of talks about what's going on. Like, this room seems to have some kind of defense system. These discs are everywhere. The discs on the walls. It seems these rooms and doors respond to my every death. I'm being forced to temper running for my life with constant observation and anticipation. If only there was more time. It's as though this disc just altered me on a molecular level. I can now phase my existence in and out of its physical form. Why do these rooms prescribe my survival? I'm starting to feel more like a test subject than an intruder. Why do these rooms keep bringing me back to life? And so on and so forth. And you just keep getting, like, little bits of information into the character's psyche as you're going through. It's completely unnecessary, but it's super cool. Unnecessary, but still cool. So let's hit up this room. Ah, yes, these discs. So like I said, you got to figure out new and interesting ways to die. Like, you got to run into those things. Got to survive for a certain amount of time into this zone. Which I think I already did, actually. Okay, hey. Ah, so close. In order to get into this, I need 15 disc types. This is 2 different abilities. So I guess this is a good time to go in here and get my next ability. Ooh. Alright, I've survived for 10 seconds, so now I need to get this last death. And I've gained the ability to slow down time. And you can swap between these different abilities. You don't get the ability to swap with them on the fly. That would be too strong. But you do get the ability to swap at any time in between levels. And this lets you slow down time. So it gives you more breathing room while dodging if, for some reason, dash isn't your thing. It's super cool. And that opened this room up. The grass is greener. Now, of course, you can't use these abilities willy-nilly. Like, obviously, there's a cooldown on the time slow. But at the same time, you might notice on the left side, if you look, the timer is not going up when I use the time slow. That is something that's sort of constant across most of the abilities. If you're using the ability in some fashion, then your timer stops. Dashing does the same thing. Most of the other abilities do the same thing as well. Two of them do not. But they're more of a aberration than, like, the rule. So you have to balance out being able to avoid and survive longer with actually having your timer go up, which is an actually quite hard, like, choice to make in some cases. Like, sometimes you're just a half second off from getting the time you need, but other times you're like, okay, I need that half second, but also if I dash, unless I dash, I will not make it. But if I spend that extra half second dashing instead of getting the timer up, I might die anyway because there's too many discs. So it gets real challenging at later stages, but at the same time, like, you still never, like, locked out, because for the most part, the challenges are easy. It's all if you want to do, like, the further edge stuff, if you want to do completion, that's when you have to start getting more challenging things going. You have to start finding all the discs. You need to start beating, like, the harder time limits. You need to start doing the more difficult challenges, that sort of stuff. But for the most part, the main story is easy to do. And it's even the hard stuff is never so hard that you want to quit, because everything is contained in these rooms. You never are bashing up against a wall for an hour and then you get stuck on one part and then get sent all the way back and you lose all your progress, because everything takes place in these rooms that at max take like 30 seconds to clear. Whoop. Just like that. Like, I would have been pissed if I had gone all that time and died, but like, I started this 14 seconds ago, so it's all self-contained. It's all very tight. There's nothing to really set you off because you lost that much time. There is one boss that will do that. There is one boss that will do that, and it was actually really annoying to deal with, but I will say that after beating it, like, I understand how to do it. It's just, in the moment, it was very hard. But now that I've done it, it's not too bad. Like, that kind of thing. The Dark Souls of bullet hells, you might say. Which isn't even accurate, because there's more bullet hells than I can shake a stick at, and they're way harder than this. But yeah, that's the majority of the game, really. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, the game does have a bunch of difficulty settings which you can use to adjust things as you will. Use the regular settings, which are on the main menu, and difficulty. So, this is very interesting. You have the ability to modify your game speed up and down by a massive amount. And you can already see, like, the difference there. Just seeing how fast those things move, and if I bring it all the way down. Right. Start of the next round, so. Let me just... like, it's too slow. And this will not penalize your runs. So if you need to turn down the difficulty by a lot, you're totally able to. You may not have, like, the clout that you would normally have afterwards because you turn down the difficulty to this degree, but it does exist, and you can use it if you need it. You also have the ability to drop your goal difficulty, so let's try doing that, and disc speed, and hazard speed. You can also turn spawn indicators on and unlock comics, which I guess unlocks all of them. Oh, you can even unlock all the zones. I didn't play around with this. Like, this is new to me. So if I go, wow, wow. Okay, I'm not going to look at the secret rooms there. Like, wow, I didn't realize that it just lets you skip everything. So yeah, if you want to talk about accessibility, even if you're bad, you can literally unlock everything automatically. Oh, I see. So the spawn indicators tell you which direction they're going to go. Yeah, if you want to beat the game, this is the way to do it. Just go. It probably will note an asterisk on your thing, which tells you like, oh yeah, okay, they used the difficulty sliders to turn things down a bit, which is why it says up there ranking 100%. So yeah, who knows? Oh, it actually, okay, I see. It will actually note which ones have been done with the difficulty settings changed. So that's good. So at the very least, you know which way to go if you haven't, let's say, legitimately unlocked everything. Oh, I can unlock the comics even. I haven't even looked at those. So there are also a bunch of challenges that you can make. So there's beat the game in under 15 minutes and less than 30 deaths. Game speed set to 200% if you're crazy. Unlock only one ability, which I don't even know how you would do that. Never die in under 10 seconds. Die from less than 12 different disc types. Never play room twice. Never die from the same disc type twice. So these are if you just want even more stuff to do. Because the game is honestly chock full of things. And that's not even... There is post-game content. Like, once you've completed this main zone of the game, like the main area of the game, there is stuff to do afterwards. There is an entire other half of the game. The hard mode is unlocked after you beat the game, and it's literally just more of the game. Just harder rooms. Not as many gimmicks, granted, but still harder. Like, this game is absolutely fantastic. I would highly recommend this to anybody. The only real weirdness with the game is the graphical option with the full screen thing. That's the only issue I've had with the game. There's a little slight weird thing where let me go to a different room. If I walk around, you can kind of tell, like... Whoop. Actually, hold on a second. Let me turn the difficulty down. Let's see. Disc speed all the way down. So, let me see. Like, one thing you can see is that it looks like I'm walking in only 8 directions, but I'm actually using an analog stick. So, there isn't analog directional movement, but for some reason, there is analog speed movement. So, you can totally run, but you can't walk in every direction. I don't know why. It's a little weird. It kind of doesn't affect anything. Like, for the most part, you're fine with this over using a keyboard. It's just weird that you don't have analog directional movement is all. Just something I'd bring up. Also, I will note, I kind of thought this when I was playing it. I thought the music was very Gungeon-ish, or Enter the Gungeon-ish, and that's because this is in fact the same person who does the music for Enter the Gungeon. So, hey, if you like that music, check out Disc Room. Oh yeah. Alright, so that is pretty much all I have to say on the topic of Disc Room. It's $15. I would highly, highly recommend checking it out. I don't think enough people are talking about this game, which is why I'm making this video. So I just want to say, like, this game honestly is legitimately super fun. I was having a blast just running around in the game, grinding out rooms, challenging myself, dodging around, learning the way the different discs move, trying to figure out new paths in different rooms to figure things out. Like, it's just so much fun to do. And it's just like fast into it, get there, checkpoint, die, repeat. Just nice, fast-paced action. Yeah. Definitely check this game out. Highly recommend it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.